Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here and welcome back to Humankind. Now I don't exactly remember what we were doing or where we were or what stage of the game we were at. I can't remember if we were going to advance our civ or do anything of that nature because it's been a few days since we played because I hurt my toe and I had a bad few days for sleep and it was hard to play. But if I take a moment here to look, we do have only expansionist stars and a little bit of other stuff. So I think I'm going to hang out in this era for a little bit longer, at least until I get tech stars. Oh yeah, we've only just gotten here. So we're playing Swahili. Now, the Swahili... Okay, these are the harbor guys. That's right. All right, it's all coming back to me now. So our gold. Yeah, the gold. Hell yeah, baby. I'm starting to remember where we were in this game. That's awesome. We are building, I believe, that's a grand fire temple. So I think what we were doing is building a lot of infrastructure. We had just killed one of the AIs, and now we were looking to expand across the water. It's all coming back to me, baby. You ever have a moment like that when you come into an old save file, and it's like rummaging in like a forgotten drawer in your wardrobe? And it's like, did I ever actually own brown socks? Like, why is there like 6 pairs of brown socks in the bottom of my wardrobe? Like, when did I buy these? This is like Pac-Man stuff from the 80s. Where did this come from? So this is what it's like when you load up a save you haven't played in a while. We have colony model now, as well as crop rotation. Oh, +1 food on tiles producing food. That's quite good. That's going to be a lot of food scaling for us, which works nicely. And new wonders, man, a lot is happening this turn. The nice food scaling, we're already scaling quite hard on population. And I feel like population is one of the more satisfying ways to play, to make sure you get a decent amount of population. Like if you look at my, it's not my capital, my capital is Mchinge. If you look at my capital, it's got 23 population, but only 24 jobs. So we are going to need to get more jobs in here. I think we have not enough Steve jobs. So I think I'm actually going to take this off of, I'm just going to put food at the bottom of the list because it doesn't seem like food is quite important to me at the moment. We have a few army stacks exploring and doing stuff like that. I would like to take control of this area. It's quite cheap to get an outpost. I would like an outpost that didn't have near zero production. So I think I'll found it there, and then I'll send you off to explore this way. How about you? You guys have already made me an outpost, so go ahead and explore over there. We have found the promised / undiscovered new world, and it has land. It has enemy land. Pillage. Perhaps we can pillage this and make some money out of it. Ooh, we have even more land down here. I'm loving the fact, let's see, 4 production. I think I would rather go for 9, 10. I mean, I actually don't care how fast these outposts build themselves because I'm really just claiming the land to have land and have options later on in the game. In Mchinge, we just got another Bandari, and I think we have all the Bandaris we can get in here unless we were to attach another settlement, which we could totally do if we wanted to do like harbors / Bandari stuff over here. We could attach new settlements onto this, no problemo. Is your little toe all right? It's not broken. We got an x-ray of the little toe. It's just very badly bruised. It's still a little bit stiff and sore when I scrunch my foot, but otherwise it's mostly okay. It's just mostly a superficial bruising wound. So I think we're going to survive that just fine. Now, looking at Mchinge, there is a part of me that says, like, we could just, you know, if we come over to Gulji here, this is prime real estate island here for either expanding my capital or making a small island city out here, because I could make Gulji into a city, add these 2 territories to them. Here's the thing. I'm already over my city cap, and I don't know how many more city caps I'm going to get. Like, I'm getting +1 here. I could probably go to 3 over my city cap and not suffer too badly. It's quite expensive. We would be waiting quite a while for that. On the other hand, I could attach this to my capital and get access to 4 more jobs, as well as another population, as well as another couple of harbors over here that I could build with influence. I'm kind of liking the harbor with influence thing. And there's a really nice place here for the Bandari. Now, the thing about the Bandari is that it gets +10 stability per adjacent regular district. So if I slap a Bandari right there, it has 4 locations where it can get districts adjacent to it. So this would be like a net positive in terms of stability. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it might be the thing to do. And then I could just throw a harbor over on this other side. And that harbor, I believe, because of my national ability, actually just doesn't cost me stability. And then I can come in here and now I've got like a really powerful region, right? This thing is producing 49 food, 8 industry, 50 money, all that sort of stuff. I could attach that to my capital if I really wanted to. Now, it will make things a little bit more expensive if I do this, But I think this might be worth it because of the scaling here, plus all the nice land. So yeah, but we don't have to make that decision right now, but it is a decision we can make at any point that we feel like. Taking a look at the capital has plenty of food right now. I think what my capital really needs is jobs. So I think a sprinkling of like makers quarters around. I think the trick is don't put too many makers quarter in any one region and just like sprinkle a few around. And that way, you never run into the issue where you have like massive pollution problems in the super late game. By just sprinkling them around in every region, you get a little bit of pollution, but nothing major. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. The problem is the districts are super expensive in this city right now. So I do think like an extra maker's quarter or two would be helpful. So let's kind of get a couple extra maker's quarters. I think I'll place 2 makers quarters. Actually, how close am I to my district thingy? We're quite close. So yeah, we'll do 2 more makers quarters in here. How did you get your map to be so flat? Is there an option in creation? I think it was partially just luck, and also I think I might have just set it to average height differential, and it's a rather large map. I mean, it's pretty hilly and stuff over here. I do prefer personally the map is a little bit flatter. So sometimes I do select that. I can't remember whether or not I actually changed anything. But let's go ahead and grab theology so we can get +1 city slot limit. And let's actually start playing because it's 7 minutes now before we even hit end turn. We can claim a new wonder. There is something to be said for Angkor Wat. It's not terrible. I think I'm going to skip Angkor Wat and see what the next era has to behold. I could also invest in a resource. Now, I happen to know there may be some over here that are worth investing in. Yeah, like here. Boom. It'll pick me up an extra 200 gold. I don't think I'm going to attach to my capital. My capital's already kind of having production problems. So by attaching another area, I would have even more production problems. I think I'd rather just slowly build up the capital. Right now, I'm focused on developing my infrastructure. That's like the big thing for me, is to slowly but surely developing the infrastructure across my empire. You can see it in the pause menu game options. Elevation standard. It was just standard elevation is what I put in. 12 food, 9 production. That seems like a good spot to drop an outpost. This might turn into a city. It might not. At the very least, it can serve as like a reasonable outpost. It's probably time I split some of these guys up with each other. We've got 5 peaceful boats in the water, which is kind of fun and interesting. So the city of Mycenae. Now, this is a little bit of a weird city. It's kind of oddly laid out. There is an argument to be made for like a commons quarter somewhere in here. Stability is relatively okay, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Really what the city needs is just time to grow. That's where like it's missing some of these yields. But I feel like there's a little bit of a mismatch. Like just kind of looking at these numbers, I'm making 261 gold in this city and 6 gold per population. I feel like the distance between these numbers, like the velocity between these numbers is kind of insane. I don't know. Now here's me just spitballing, but I feel like in terms of exploitation, you shouldn't actually get any resources from like placing makers quarters. That should just set like the maximum output of the city, and then the ratio of the population in the city, like working these jobs, sets how much of that production potential you actually hit. That would be my opinion how it should work. Because if you imagine, right, you place a maker's quarter, like 14 production from a maker's quarter, that's worth 2 population. Whereas if it was, setting the potential, it would be adding like a couple of production to your population. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like a good idea, but it's an idea that I've had about the game and something I've thought about a little bit. So when I'm looking at Mycenae, I actually don't really need much here, except like maybe... Weird. I can get 25 stability from that garrison. I don't need stability in here. I don't think I really need districts either. There's some pretty good food here. There is an argument to be made for like expanding my food settlements into this river here, because like there's really good food over here. I mean, that's 30 food. I could grow this city even faster. It's already growing at like 81% per turn. It's hard to know. I think for now I'll just take +2 food on river in here with also +1 money from ongoing trade. There are no trade routes here, but there may be in future. We're looking at the city of Zynkera. It's kind of similar stuff going on in here. I think the city could use a little bit more production. It's kind of out of jobs. So anything that gives me jobs is ideal here. Jobs is what I'm looking for. I am looking for a job. I guess the best way to get jobs in here is to build farmers' quarters or makers' quarters and stuff like that. Stability is fine, Maybe we could start to expand over to this section. There's a little bit of production over here. I could do like Maker's Quarter, Maker's Quarter, Maker's Quarter, Maker's Quarter, sort of in a chain. I do wish I could hold shift and like Maker's Quarter a chain of dependent Maker's Quarters. I have to wait 4 turns or 2 turns, then place another one. It's kind of annoying. Similar sort of problem in here. The city is like overgrown its need. So how about we do a little bit of production construction here? Looking at NASA, actually, is there a law I can change industrial production? I could go for more food or gold. I think I would probably go for the gold here. Getting 2 jobs per market quarter wouldn't be bad. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how we do. I can build my Bandari, and the Bandari is like disgustingly good. It's worth 50 gold each. So these are like obvious rush things that I just want to rush. Now I could place it over top of my current harbor, but I don't think I will. I think I will place it. Well, this is actually a really good spot for it. So yeah, we'll replace our harbor. So we spend about 10 turns just building these Bandari. That's about 150 gold each. If you have Humankind, if you have Game Pass, Humankind is on it for no further cost. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I like that Humankind is on the Game Pass. A lot of people can try it out. One of the really nice things about like expanding to these areas, like these little outposts, is that they'll actually grow population for you relatively slowly, but that will actually count towards these missions in here over time. So we need 2 more techs, 6 more districts, quite a bit more gold. I think we're on par for an okay run here. I think one area that I'm falling behind in, which isn't great, is the fact that I'm falling behind a little bit in influence production. My influence is quite low. I don't really have a plan or possibly even a need to improve my influence production. So we'll have to kind of see what we decide to do there. I have all my units like split up and exploring and stuff. This looks like it could be quite a productive little island chain over here. I'm kind of starting to get tempted by like the island city idea that I had. That's starting to seem a little bit more fun if we were to do it. Finding new land would be ideal. Okay, we did find new land. Perfect. I'm loving the whole embarkation thing for Swahili is insane, dude. I'm loving it. The fact that I can like just run up and down the coastline with no problems is my favorite. Era Star unlocked. So we have Gold Agrarian, Gold Expansionist, and Bronze. Wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe... getting Silver Militarist would require a war, but I can definitely get Silver and Gold in at least 2 more categories. Merchant Star, that's perfect. Go ahead and grab that anomaly right there. Hey, Theology was researched off the back of that anomaly. Amazing. I think, anyway. So we got Theology. That's going to give us access to extra science on our researchers, as well as +2 researcher jobs. I remember we're growing really quickly, so stuff like this is really good. Each pop gives +1 influence, but if you raise stability, it gives +2 instead. Yeah, I know that. It's just that, like, right now my big problem isn't that I can't get enough pops, it's that I can't get enough jobs for my pops. I'm actually over-popped right now, pretty heavily, which I think would be great opportunity for a migration mechanic expansion, like do a little mini expansion based around migratory people. And immigration, like overpopulated cities, you know, prosperous cities, maybe a draw, you know, population from your little outposts or something like that. You know, you could there's things you could do. So agrarian and expansionist civs could have some interesting interaction there. If you expand a lot of people will migrate to the big cities. I think Great Fish Market now, this is an amazing building, +5 money per naval trade route and +4 money on harbour. That's a fantastic building, so we're going to want to grab that. Hamlets are quite useful because they have 4 jobs in them and they allow you to access more resources. So I think hamlets are something I want to grab relatively soon as well. People are hesitant, people are converting, cultural shift is starting. I think my culture is too weak and it's beginning to collapse because I started trading so heavily with the Haudenosaunee, at least over here, because this city had like, what, 12 population, generating 70 influence compared to like my capital is generating 110. This city's making 110 as well. So yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more. I think influence would be like an important resource for me to get a hold of if I can. I gotta say though, playing this updated version of Humankind is feeling really, really nice. The game feels like it has matured quite a bit from launch. It definitely had a couple of issues on launch, which were, I feel like, holding it back a little bit. But now kind of getting to look at it again with sort of fresh eyes, with fresh mechanics and stuff like that. Some of the flaws are still there, but you can see they've been kind of blended out a little bit. They've been kind of blurred and smudged away with new stuff, and the potential for me to get sucked into this game and just continue to play it is high. It's very high, let me tell you. So I definitely want to pick up a fishmonger because that leads to the trade building. And then I think I also would like another Maker's Quarter. Let's see, there's a plus 15 Maker's Quarter over here by the river. I'll grab that one. It's pretty good. And then that's fine, yeah. I really like 4X games because they kind of breadcrumb you through the gameplay. It's like, oh, this city needs an order. Oh, this army needs to move. Oh, this needs to do that. And it's really important for those decisions to be interesting. Let's see, the Haudenosaunee. They have what? What do they want from me? We depend on access to their resources. You also depend on access to my resources. I don't understand why you hate me, lady. I'm not dependent on your resources, okay? I just want them. Because goddamn doesn't make my empire stronger to be friends with you. But I mean, if you want to declare war, that's a road I will... Listen, I will salt the earth of my people's future for just a sniff of one of your cities burning, okay? Just a sniff. Never put me in charge of anything that like actually has an impact on people's lives. I'll go rogue, dude. I'll make decisions. I start mobilizing troops in in Western Russia. You know what I'm saying? I'll go rogue. Don't ever give me power over anything. So we're back to Mycenae. We got the customs farm. Let's grab the fishmonger and the fishery because we do actually have a decent number of harbors in my empire. And there will be more. Oh, wow. I can get plus 20 for placing next to my Bandari. That's very good. God, Coastal Haven is so good. We just got forward outposts. That's quite good. We have the access to the Quadrireme, as well as another Aerostar for science. Perfect. How are we doing on the fame ranking? Man, the Haudenosaunee is just insane right now. They are running away with the game. So I do think science is going to be like a big thing that we need to get control of. So let's get library and House of Scribes as a priority in here. In fact, yeah, library and House of Scribes. I think I need to get my science up to a more respectable level. This is just an encampment, so I don't think I can like hire them or anything. You can. You know what? Let's attempt to give. What happens if I give these people an outpost? I've never tried this. I gave them Sadachbia. I just moved them. I just peacefully relocated them from this area to my border. Now here's the question. Is this actually a civilization now? They're at their zenith. So I'm waiting for this to become a city. Interesting. So I just like, hey, come live next to me, buddy. It's like, move in, neighbor. That's kind of cute. I like that. That's neat. I've never done that before. I need to find like dry land. Khmer, how do you feel about open borders? I will pay the money for that because this unit is actually kind of important to me. Plus, I want to explore and find your resources. Have I bought all the Khmer's resources, actually? I have. Quote unquote peacefully relocated. Listen, I'm not going to question. They moved of their own accord. I gave them land. They accepted the deal. It was completely fair. 1908, hell yeah. There are no power imbalances in humankind, okay? Where do I put this outpost, though? 6-8. I'm kind of confused as to when suggestions appear. Is the game just like nothing here is good enough to suggest? Is that like the suggestion? Is like don't settle here? I'll take a 7-8. But like if you zoom out objectively, like my grip on this map is insane. The amount of resources that I'm going to be able to generate from this map is going to be fun. So does this develop into a city, I assume? And then I'll be friendly. Yeah, it gives you really good relationship with them. So expansionist empires can actually also leverage that into good relations with these minor civs. Cool. In terms of laws, independent peoples, assimilate cost wouldn't be bad. We'll probably want to take assimilate cost at some point if we're doing independent peoples resettling. I'm going to take +1 trader slots. That should open up more jobs over time for me and give me a lot more gold. Because again, I'm just having trouble employing all my population. It's probably not an important thing to fixate on. Cheaper create outposts. I'm gonna accept this one because I'm placing a lot of outposts right now. Eventually, though, I mean, I have so much money that it doesn't really matter what the price is. Like I'm starting to snowball now, which is always a good feeling. I think there is a point in these games where you begin to snowball and the game becomes like a lot more fun. And then there's a point beyond that where you've snowballed too much and the game becomes tedious. And like that's a bad time. But that time in the middle there, that's great. And that's where we are right now. We're in the like the engine is ticking over and we're kind of snowballing a bit. And that's my favorite time when I'm playing one of these games. Is that moment when you realize that you've built like an overpowered empire. And then the bit that sucks is later when you realize that you've built an overpowered empire and like you're literally a god king and nothing is interesting anymore and like you're like scorching the Earth of millions of people just to feel anything. Hello, Dr. Manhattan. Let's go ahead and get the manuscript atelier because we want lots of science. So +1 science per researcher and 2 researcher slots is quite good because the city is maxed out on thing. You know what? We could spend the money on this. We also want the fishmonger. Do we? No, we don't. Not in this city. I really do feel like the city, like, unironically, needs just time to grow. Like, the city is perfect. So maybe I just grab like a theater for the little bit of influence. It's the equivalent to having 2 population at 100% stability or 4 at below 90%. Maybe we go for the library and the manuscript atelier. Just sort of get that passive science ticking over. Era star unlocked is the builder star. So that's 1, 2, 3 gold stars, which should theoretically be enough to put me in a really strong position, but apparently not when I'm compared to this AI. I do think I'm going to have to go to war with the Haudenosaunee in the late game, which is going to be a problem. Although I may, it depends on how strong the Nigerian MRAPs are, really. I've heard good things about the MRAPs. I can't actually go into whoever's territory that is, or else it's just like a zone of control thing. I'm not sure. But we're exploring. There is also a sort of, I don't know about you guys, but exploring the world kind of has the same, those like little scratch cards I don't know if other countries do this, but when you're a kid in Ireland, or at least when I was growing up, you would get given, because it was seen as like a little bit, I don't want to say crass, or like giving people money wasn't like the done thing, I guess, which in my opinion is fine. Give me money. You would give a kid like a couple of like €5 scratch cards or something instead of like 10, instead of money in their birthday card. And you would like scratch them off and like you never won. I get the same feeling of like discovery as I'm like scratching off the fog of war off the map. I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's underneath this patch of fog of war. Is there cool resources? Is there like a strategic and interesting landmass? That's kind of how I feel when I'm playing, when I'm doing this exploration phase. It's really, really satisfying to kind of watch the fog of war fold back. It's super popular in the US for Christmas to hand out scratch cards, which I appreciate that people mean well doing it, but also it's kind of weird to give children gambling. I mean, it's the same idea too with Magic the Gathering cards, or just like any card-based thing. Because when I was a kid, football cards were huge. Football cards is basically, you get this like book for like the FIFA, the Premier League or whatever league it is. And you would have all the teams. You have like Manchester, you'd have Liverpool, Chelsea, all whatever. I don't know what the teams are now. But you'd have all the teams, and then you would buy like these little card packs of footballers that were stickers, and you would stick them in your book and you would try and complete it. And you would have to trade with your friends and stuff like that, except you would steal from your friends, obviously, because you're 7 and you don't know what morality is. Well, I never stole because I didn't care. I've never been a collector kind of person. Never cared. Really didn't. I would happily give all my cards to other people. But yeah, I think it's the point of that is that feels a little like weird and unethical. Like, hey kid, here's your gateway drug. Have a little gambling in your life. I know, it just felt weird on reflection to me that was a thing that we just did and nobody batted an eyelid. Yeah, I think picking up the manuscript atelier and the school here, I want to grow my science a little bit. We're in a science expansion phase. So we'll slowly work on that. Methink potato protests too much. What does that even mean? I've never understood that phrase. Nuclear the take, guys. I don't think we should promote gambling for children. Wow. I think you're projecting. What? What are you talking about? What? Project? What am I? What? Why would you? What do you even mean? Listen, sometimes this is why so many people are banned in my chat. Okay, you're watching me play. And you feel that urge. I know you do. I know you feel it down in your danglies. When you are sitting there, you've come up with something clever to say, and you just can't hold back. Do you actually get bothered by kids having scratches on Christmas? Seems harmless. I'm not bothered by it. I'm just like, upon reflection, it's a shower thought moment. Upon reflection, maybe we shouldn't be doing it. I mean, like, it's just like, maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't be doing it. It's like, I don't know if that's like the correct answer, but it's a thought. Oh my God, why is everyone so greedy for money for open borders? What is this? Here's the thing. I think everyone agrees that like children shouldn't gamble. Children shouldn't drink alcohol. Children shouldn't like do drugs. Children shouldn't, those are like vices. Children shouldn't buy NFTs or cryptocurrency. These are all vices. So like, it's weird that we give them ways to gamble, okay, and it's seen as like just no, kids just vibing, dude. I don't. Am I out of touch? Am I crazy here? Alcohol is yummy. Great contribution to the conversation. Why are you attacking me, sir? We have open borders. What? I have open borders. I'm in your territory. Why are you attacking me? I don't understand. We have open borders. I'm in your land. So he's just like, come on in. He's just like, come on in, guys. Immediately steals their shoes and stabs us in the back. What the hell? What the hell was that? That's insane. That's ridiculous. Also, the Haudenosaunee is killing them. I got you baited. Dude, they were just like, come on in, neighbor. We're about to start dinner. I was like, oh, what's for dinner? You. I think I would like to declare. Do you have a non-aggression pact? Listen, I don't care if I have a non-aggression pact. All I care is that, in my opinion, if you have open borders with somebody, you shouldn't attack them when they're in your borders. You can't just be like, come into my house and then be like, you're trespassing. You know what I mean? It's not okay. It's like, yeah, come into my house. Intruder! You just pull out the gat and just start blasting. It's like, dude, this is not okay. It's the Florida way, true. Am I wrong? That feels counterintuitive, that they can be like, hey, come into our borders. Also, don't come into our borders. Don't... don't come into the Khmer tomorrow. It makes sense for medieval times. Dude, that would... What? Diplomacy existed before we had computers, dude. Looking at the city of Macumba, the only big place that I feel like I'm falling behind is science. This is a lot of turns for researching. So I'm feeling like maybe a little bit of tech here is appropriate. Like just a few research quarters might be nice. Like maybe a group of 3 here. This is prime farming land. So I do need to be careful about like how I screw my farming land. Yeah, I think I'll do like a triangle of research districts over here. The stability in here is fine. We'll start on some research just to try and push that number just a little bit taller. There's seafaring, so now we have access to the Great Fish Market. Now that's important enough for me to consider changing what I'm doing across my empire. We did just get another merchant star, so we're about 10 turns away, maybe 4, no, probably more like 6 turns away from this other star, because I'm making 2,000 gold per turn. So I definitely want to come in here and get the Great Fish Market, naval trade routes. I think I have a decent amount of naval trade routes. Like if I buy this, boom, that was worth like 30 gold per turn. Not terrible. Where do I have the most trade routes? I think it's over here in Nasa, actually. Yeah, 27 trade routes. So if I come in here and I buy the fishmonger, okay, there's a little bit of gold. And then I buy the Great Fish Market, boom, that was over 200 gold per turn. So that was super worth it. That'll pay itself back over time relatively quickly. So the potential for my empire to like snowball here from land is kind of high. I should probably consider settling another city. I will have the influence for it next turn. Tempted to do this kind of a weird little island city, although maybe I'll do that to maybe I'll attach that to my capital, who knows. I definitely feel like I could attach Ganubu here. 1400 gold, that seems like a steal. It will make this like this is 1100 production I attach, and that made that 1400 production, so it does make your districts quite a bit more expensive to attach, but the extra job slots is worth it in my opinion. You know, we do be doing open borders without non-aggression pact at your own risk, I guess. In my opinion, I interpreted, right, tolerate skirmishes as in neutral territory, right? So neutral territory not owned by either party. What this actually means is you just can't attack them inside their territory. So if I have open borders and tolerate skirmishes, I can go into their territory, but they can still attack me, which is really unintuitive and strange of an interaction. So yeah, it's a bit odd. It feels like to me that like open borders should be dependent upon a non-aggression pact. You can't have it the way it is currently. I like that this is sort of trying to be independent and stuff like that. I don't think it works very well. So are they just occupying all this land? I think they are. I think it's about time that we killed Scythia. Wait, first though, I need to get the tech to merge cities. Yeah, so I need to get this. I need to get military architecture. And once I have the ability to merge cities, I can like rebuild my empire in my own image. So the city of Mycenae is quite good. Let's see, we could do the Grey Fish Market. We have a trade route here. The city of Nasa. Quite a bit of anomalous terrain and stuff like that around. It wouldn't be bad for me to get another Maker's Quarter. There's a 19 production Maker's Quarter there. Just throw down the occasional Maker's Quarter. We just got an Estate Star. I don't think I'm ever going to get more than a Bronze Estate Star this era. It would take way too long, like 14 turns. I think I'll probably get my Gold Merchant Star and maybe a Silver Scientist Star and then just bounce out of this era. Independent Peoples. This is a law I haven't actually picked yet. And this culture is already kind of converting back to me because my culture pressure has like flipped and changed here. So I reckon I can refuse this. Stability will be a bit of a problem for a while, but we'll be able to fix that with things like public fountains and aqueducts and stuff like that. How important is managing the city cap? Like I want to merge some cities, but it's so expensive. I think you don't want to be like more than 4 or 5. It depends on how much influence you make. You don't want to be too much higher than it. Science osmosis, 100 science, cool. I do think it's about time I set up a city over here in this like fresh, fertile land. And we have the option of evolving the outpost to a city. And it'll be a while before we get 3-masted ship. So the sooner we do this, the better. And I'm thinking the city of Agai here is quite good. It's got 3 land masses, 1, 2, 3, that I could make use of as an island city. So let's do Bandari. There's an ideal Bandari. Now, the interesting thing about the Bandari is that, in my opinion, you want to place it here in these kind of like crevices rather than normal harbors, which you want to place like, you know, on the edge of terrain so you can grab as much cool, delicious stuff as possible. So let's start doing more Bandari, like right there. Artisan's Quarter. Let's make sure we have all these resources unlocked too, because these are quite good resources. Like there's whales here that I absolutely should just have control of. We're like missing Bandari. We'll get around to that. So I'll probably have to do this next turn. Yeah, I just spent a little bit too much influence. So we'll do all that next turn. 17-4. I think I would like something a little bit more balanced, like a 15-5 or a 6-10. I know that sounds like what, a 6-10 more balanced? It is. Production is better than food, in my opinion, for outposts, because getting the outposts online is like pretty important. But now we're sort of reaching the part of the scratch card reveal the map portion where micromanaging scouts is like slightly tedious and no longer fun. So we have all of our tech stuff in here. The big thing we're missing is probably a triangle of research quarters somewhere. I'm thinking down here isn't bad. We'll drop down 2 research quarters to try and boost up the science per turn. We are now in food deficit because the city grew too much, which is kind of wild to me. Why is my food so low? What happened here? It's because the Haudenosaunee, don't make me go to war with you. So she is screwing me out of a lot of resources here by doing this. Now, I'm probably screwing her out of like a relatively equal amount, but we do need to diffuse this. I'll refuse her demands, and now we're at war. Okay. So this will be good for me because I still have my demands in action. I'll have a little bit of trouble here, but this does give me an opportunity to flex my muscle. They will be slightly technologically ahead of me, but that's fine. They declared war on me, so their war support is going down over time. So this is a trade war, is what we need to keep in mind. In terms of military, I feel like boats are going to be the thing here. Let's have a look, right? Garama, I think a stack of 4 cogs here is the move. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll try to purchase those out. We can get those cogs from Garama around to here relatively quickly and maybe harass their coastline with them. The city of Zinkerka, we can probably send this stack of army out to meet them on the field of battle. And we'll do a similar thing. We'll do the second stack of cogs. So we're in war now, which significantly changes the game. We also want to be careful now with these stacks. We don't want to lose them to like careless boat attacks because that could tank our war support. So let's kind of like regroup our armies and stuff like that. There's also the potential for a side attack here from me to Thebes. So that's something I should consider. Start moving troops out in that direction. I do like this though. We're living in interesting times. War is happening. I do feel that I should convert this to a city. Like so. There's Kilwa. And we will start to build some makers quarters here. We could probably do a little bit of harassment with these armies to get them grouped up. We want to be careful about how we approach this war, because every battle we lose is not great. Chivalry researched. We have access to the hamlet as well as knight, and we can claim a new wonder. None of those really appeal. So we have a pentaconter here. Now this is a really good moment for me, because I might be able to get a war support win here. Boom, I kick them back. Their units retreat. They lose 5 war support. I could potentially chase down this pentaconter with a 4 stack of boats. Also, I can upgrade these javelin riders to knights, which is probably what a lot of my money is going to be spent on these next few turns. So my economy was quite heavily reliant on trade with the Haudenosaunee, which I think is like a next era civ. Waiting for more cogs to appear. There's Mycenae. I could make another stack of cogs. I think I will. I think I'm going to go pretty heavy on the navy here. The heavier I go on navy, the better chance I have of winning the water war. And if I can win the water war, then I can win the trade war and maybe extract a little bit of value here. So wait, their war support is low. Actually, quite good. So Swahili are determined to weather this. Yeah, we can make it through this, no problem. So now this time we might be able to secure an actual victory here at sea. We have 4 boats. Now these are my boats are only transports with 27 combat strength versus their ship with 25. So I actually win this pretty readily. We have him surrounded. Perfect. Now that kill might not look significant, but that was worth 8 war support. So we've significantly damaged their willingness to continue the war. And we need to continue to look for little value kills like this on things like pikemen, because we have better transports and navy, like general purpose navy. Like this is exactly the kind of war that Swahili wants to get into at this phase of the game. I have incredible embarkation skills. You're the one who declared war on me, so I'm not even losing war support over time. It's all taking part on water, where I have better transport ships than anyone else in the entire game. So, you know, it's all, as they say, it's all coming up Millhouse. When you destroy a single ship, you usually decrease their willingness to fight, just like the USS Maine. I actually don't know that reference, so I'll believe you. 22 production, 24 production. So we just want to like ramp up the production in Kilba pretty heavily here. There's siege tactics. We have access to ballistas now. There's another scientist star. So I think we will go for this. I think we're going to go for 2 more gold stars and maybe see if we can sneak in a silver on militarist. So there was an enemy unit somewhere over here. I didn't get to see where it went. Let's take control of these silk. 50, like, silk industry across cities is really, really good. Production on makers' quarters is like untouchably powerful. We want to make sure we prioritize those. The Goths are expanding. I would like to find another player. If there's another player to my north, it's actually really good for me. So I'm going to go have a little bit of a questing look. A lot of army micromanagement right now for me. Wow, these cliffs really make it difficult to get over there. That might be this ocean might be too open for me to actually go sailing over to their land. I wish I knew the hotkeys for like units sit still and do nothing. We've almost got our first cog fleet available. A second cog fleet is under construction, and a third cog fleet is halfway finished. So I'm starting to feel quite good about my position in this war. The Spanish-American War of 1898 was sparked by the USS Maine blowing up in Cuba, which the US government put to blame on Spain. Later, investigation failed to find any Spanish involvement. That's right, because every time something bad happens, the reality is the person you want to attack is who's going to get blamed, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what actually happens or what the facts on the ground are. That's just like War 101, right? Oh no! Some random provincial government building is on fire. It's the Irredentists or whatever. We declare war. Just don't look too carefully at what actually happened. Thank you. Also, you're at war. Can you surrender now? I was trying to find... There was a pikeman down here somewhere. I don't know where it's gone now. Our first cog fleet is ready to head out. We can maybe do a little bit of pillaging or something. Now, these are boarding vessels, so that's something to keep in mind, which are different from some of our others. I'm going to wait on sending armies because I actually don't know where they are. So I think 1 stack of cogs is okay for now. It would be good to get another artisan quarter on these resources right here. Tea in particular will be quite helpful for the food in my cities. What are your thoughts on the DLC so far? I think the DLC, while I don't think it's revolutionary, but it's a huge improvement to the game. Like a massive, massive, massive improvement to the game. And it makes the game like quite a bit more fun. That's like my whole opinion. Natha. Maybe one more stack of cogs here in NASA, and I'll do like a little purchasing so that gets done a little quicker. There's a merchant star, so we're gold, 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 gold. We're just waiting for gas, gas, gas on the science. Yeah, I don't think the DLC is revolutionary. I think it's really, really good. It brings the game forward in terms of mechanics. It, in particular, the patch that accompanied it has significantly improved the game to where I feel like the game is just straight up better than it was on launch. It's much more stable. It's much more playable. The mechanics feel a little bit more mature. There you are. The mechanics feel a little bit more mature, a little bit more developed. So yeah, I feel if you already liked the game, here's the kind of semi-nuclear take. If you already liked the game, the DLC is probably not a big deal. If you hate the game, the DLC isn't a big deal. If you bought the game and were like, oh, it's a little bit buggy and I didn't want to, it's kind of buggy and annoying and the mechanics aren't super fun, it's probably a significant improvement for you. If you already like the game, more is better, right? But I don't think this is going to be enough to change anyone's opinion of the game yet. That might come in the form of DLC, but right now it's not. Macomba is a city that's developing really nicely. It is a little bit negative on food right now, so we could potentially look for an extra farm or two like along this river over here. If I was going to do that, I would like place a delicious hamlet like right there. Hamlets on rivers are just so good. It's honestly a little crazy how good hamlets on rivers are. So like maybe crack out a couple of hamlets here. Each of those hamlets is like worth quite a bit in terms of resources. Like 27 food and 13 production. Plus, the other really important thing about the hamlet is it gives you one of each job. So it starts to open up the game a little bit in terms of population. And it comes right at the perfect time. For looking at the city of Garama, I think hamlets also, I think hamlets might help. Farmers' quarters could help. I feel like hamlets, if I'm thinking about where do I want this city to expand to? Good control of the river. We'll get a water mill as well with that hamlet. How did you come up with the name PotatoMcWhiskey? This is a story I've told like endlessly now. But basically I was playing Battlefield with a friend of mine and I killed him a bunch we were having fun, right? And there was a couple of times where I killed him in a bullshit way. I was using the Scar L or whatever in Battlefield 19 or 2142 and I killed him a couple too many times and he was drunk and he got mad and he thought of the most racist thing he could call me, which was PotatoMcWhiskey. He said something to the effect of, "You potato fucking Irish whiskey fuck," or something like that. And I just immediately thought that was the most hilarious thing anyone had ever said to me, and I immediately changed my name to PotatoMcWhiskey, and then proceeded to kill him some more in the game. There were different times back then. You could call people names, and no one, people got mad. But they usually got mad by like shouting different, more worse names back. So there's an enemy pikeman somewhere in this fog of war over here. I'm worried for Kilma. It should be fine. Kilma's doing great though in terms of production. I'm just really trying to ramp that production up in here. So let's go start like moving the cogs in the direction of their empire. So Zinkekra, Zinkekra, is very sparse in terms of districts actually. Like look at this city. And there really isn't many districts in here. There's like a sprinkling of districts in here, but really nothing to write home about. To the point where I'll probably merge it with Hattusa eventually. I think the big thing in here will probably be hamlets. Hamlets on the rivers. Again, like the reason hamlets on rivers are so good is because if you can exploit a river, you get food and production, and hamlets can do that. Right? And like there's a really nice river system in this chunk of territory right here. So like a hamlet here. Now this is theoretically the best place for the hamlet. But I also need to think about future districts that are going to come off the hamlet. You don't want to actually build on the river with anything other than a hamlet. You kind of want to surround the river with districts if you want to maximize your food and production off it. Like it's kind of a weird situation to be in. So yeah, hamlets on rivers are gross and I love it. If we're looking at the city of Nasa, this is a city that does need a little bit more food to grow. So perhaps like a farm or two. Maybe a farm and a hamlet. Seems like a good combo. A little bit of food, a little bit of production. Keep it busy for a while. Maybe we'll just get the hamlet. How do you keep your cities fed? Mine are always starving even after spamming farmers' quarters. It's kind of weird. I don't know why your cities are starving. I'd have to look into what you're doing and what you're doing wrong and stuff. So I really need to declare war on the Goths/Scythians soon. So where was that pikeman? There he is. There he is. There he is. What's happening here? Is he being attacked? What? Okay, we're just going to not look at that part of the map and hope that it gets better. So it'd be really nice if we could do like a little bit of cheeky raiding. It's kind of what we're looking to do here. So we got a couple of science quarters in the capital. Let's keep doing that. Do I have good rivers in here? I do have a river. There's probably like a nice hamlet somewhere here. Yeah, 22 food, 22 production. That's like a solid hamlet for 5 turns of production. Capital is starving a little bit. We're pretty light on food in here. It's probably just it's just because we're at war with the Haudenosaunee. When we force them to peace and take their trade deal. Hamlets are also one of each job slot, so they're fantastic. Yeah, I really like hamlets for that. Actually, speaking of Mukenge, what I probably need to do is to make this go back to city growth as a policy to stop the population loss. A non-aggression pact from the Khmer. I'll take that. Now I can finally explore their lands in peace and they won't just like straight up murder me for no reason. See, my big problem is I don't think I'm going to be able to get into their lands to do any pillaging. This is not going to work for me. I haven't been able to get over into them. A very long trade war. I have to like split up my troops. There he is. On low luxury maps, you're reliant on garrisons and common quarter. That's kind of true. My stability is relatively okay as it stands. We look at the city of Mycenae. Things are looking relatively fine in here. I do think a hamlet on this river is pretty damn tasty. Let's see here. We have 19 versus 25. Yeah, okay. Hamlet on the river. Always, always, always put hamlets on your rivers. Make sure you have water mills and stuff like that and flood irrigation. 2 more attacks until we can advance. What are we researching? We are researching war summons. It would be nice to pick up 10% science from alchemy. I think would be good. War summons researched. Perfect. We have pikemen and crossbowmen now. Not that I'm going to actually use those because I don't have a use for them yet. I'm going to move 2 sets of cogs over here to see if I can find any angle. Any angle on the Khmer here, or on the Haudenosaunee rather. The Mexicans are offering me a white peace. Both empires withdraw their demands and return to peace. I feel like I can win this war, so I'm going to refuse. And if I can extract value from this war, that would be huge. So I'm going to refuse the war because her war support is falling. 20 turns, I auto win. So if I can inflict just like the tiniest bit of damage, that's great for me. We have found the enemy. He has retreated. We must give chase. So he's over here. I don't think I can safely attack on land. Her units on land are likely much better than mine. That's the reality I have to accept. The way I win this war is through naval pillaging and stuff. And then eventually I'll get around to killing whoever Red is now. The Goths still. Okay. They're in the classical era still. I completely destroyed their empire. Hamlet? No, but the food in here is quite good. Let's make sure we are on city growth. Probably good to get animal barns and the fish market. We do have a decent amount of harbors. That city develop. I have a bunch of gold in the bank. I'm thinking a little bit of farming in Kilwa now would be good. Like farm a little bit over here. I do like how important a good navy is becoming on this map. Yeah, I agree. I think this has definitely been one of my more interesting games as a result of that. Let's go ahead and manual battle this. End deployment. Deploy you to 1, 2, 3. Easy kill. Very simple, very easy kill. That's another hit to their war support. It's dropping rapidly. I probably won't be able to take land unless I were able to get some sort of sneak attack on one of their cities, which would be actually amazing if I could pull that off. If I could get some quick and dirty sneak attack on one of their cities would be amazing. But it's probably just not going to happen. I'm not really set up for it and I wasn't really prepared for a war. I don't know what's going on with my camera over here. Like I can't actually look at this part of my empire. Like, okay, I don't know if you guys can see what's happening, but I can't go to the right. Let me just, if I go to the left, okay, it's being really weird there. It's like a camera bug. Now it's being normal. Orange is in a stability loss spiral. Well, you see, he probably lost his stability because he declared war on me, right? So again, hoisted by your own petard. The city of Garama. If we take a look at the city, it's quite well developed. It's got a good population. It's not growing particularly fast, which might justify a little bit more food. But I do think it's time to develop my science industry a little bit. And over here was one of the places that I had planned to do it. Because it's the one area in my empire that I'm quite a bit behind on. It's actually a really, really good sciencing area over here. Scientific facts. So I can get +1 science on holy sites or +1 faith and stability on research quarters. I think I actually like the faith and stability here. I know it sounds weird, but this will make my religion way more powerful. And having the strongest religion in the game might have significant advantages. But I'm going to call that the end of this episode. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.